We're delighted to have Orla Cooney from Magico e-commerce back with HAI, back following her previous webinar, to talk to us about how to reach your online potential. And we're also delighted to be joined by Joe and Robert from Stakelums Home and Hardware, who are going to talk to us about their own journey to maximizing their own online presence. So this webinar is a follow-up to Orla's previous webinar, which took place earlier this month, which guided hardware business owners through getting their business online for the first time. If anyone missed that webinar and you'd like access to that or you'd like to revisit it, I'll be sending everyone before the end of this week a link to that recording and that of today's webinar. So everyone will have access to both webinars for your own use. So everyone is on listen only mode at the moment, but if anyone has any questions for Orla, for Joe, for Robert, or for anyone in the Magico team, if you want to send them through the chat function at the bottom of your screen, and the team will be happy to answer your questions in the Q&A session at the end of the presentation. So with that, I will hand you over to Orla, who will present today's discussion, and I hope you all enjoy.
Thank you so much, Aoife. Hi, everyone. And thank you to Aoife and for the introduction, and delighted to be back for the second. And as Aoife said, this is the final in this webinar series. Okay, so for those of you, as Aoife said, who missed the first session, as she said, it's available to watch back on the Vimeo link, and she'll be able to guide you for those of you who maybe don't have access to that just yet. In that session, it was kind of a precursor to today's, really. We covered a very practical guide to going online for the first time. So how to get online fast, and maybe the ingredients as well needed to achieve that. And then we looked at strategies that offered a practical and also a very commercial approach to acquiring customers and hitting that first target of €250,000 in annual online revenue, because that's really the first target you need to hit. The focus of today's session is very much how to establish long-term growth. So we're thinking, we've got to 250K, how do we get to the next one? 500K, 750, a million and beyond. And what we'll do is we'll look at benefits of going online from two different angles as well. So the benefits of targeting the end customer, so the B2C customer, and maybe the value of using the online channel as also a way to capture orders from your B2B trade customer, because that's a big part of a lot of your businesses as well. And again, today, like we did last week, we have invited along an AB commerce retailer from this industry to share their experience of the online channel, because it's okay me talking it here, but it's great to hear from retailers on the ground themselves. So it's great. I'm delighted that Joe Connolly, General Manager, and Rob Harris, the Marketing Manager from Stakelums.ie, will be joining us. So I'll run through my presentation and they'll join us for a chat at the end. So let's kick off. Okay, so 2 weeks ago, we made stage 1 and stage 2 of what's on your screen there. We made that the focus of our last webinar. Today, though, I want to talk to you more about stage 3. So how do you achieve long-term growth? How do you get to 1 million plus in online revenue? So let's just set the scene based on what we chatted about last week. So at this stage, you're now live. You've got a professional looking online store. It's mobile optimized, it's stable, and it's regularly updated. Most likely you will have engaged with a commercially focused digital marketing agency, and they maybe will be supporting you in executing some paid digital marketing campaigns, and that will help you to acquire that initial critical mass of visitors to your online store. So you'll now have a solid level of online revenue, maybe 15 to 20K coming through your online store a month. And in line with that then as well, you'll have in place a targeted personalized email marketing strategy that will regularly engage with those customers, many of whom will have come through that digital marketing campaigns. So those people won't have known of you. This email strategy will then ensure that any of that digital marketing spend you've spent to acquire those customers doesn't just result in one sale, but instead you're mining the long-term value of that customer. So there's some of the key things that we spoke about last week, and that's where you are now in your online strategy. So how do you move from there? Okay, so we spoke about it last week, but customer service is key. It's key to getting to that point, but it's also key in continuing along your online journey and making sure that you continue to build and to grow. So as I said, very much one of the key building blocks to get you to that stage. Never underestimate it, the value of superior customer service, particularly for hardware. So tools need to be serviced. Customers, they need your advice and guidance, big ticket items maybe that they're looking to purchase. And just like the stats in last week's session showed us, Irish consumers still want to buy Irish. So if you can offer trust, if you can offer reliability, fast delivery, quality products, and an experienced team to advise the customer, you're going to go a long way to securing that loyalty. And many of you will have done that very successfully offline. So it's just about transferring that now to all those principles that you have offline, transferring those to the online channel. And I suppose when we say superior customer service, what are we talking about? So we're talking about answering customer queries that come through online. Packing your orders, maybe with that extra personal touch. Maybe there is a couple of free samples, products that will go into the pack. Next day deliveries when the customer wasn't expecting the package for 3 days. That's always a real crowd pleaser. Personalized gift messages, a simple returns policy, and polling our customers for feedback. So make them feel special and make them feel that you care about what they think. And then your customers, they will keep coming back. Okay. And then daily, we spoke about this last week as well. We talked about getting online fast with the subset of your products, but you should have a strategy in place to continually add to your product catalog. So you should be in a daily routine of adding products, merchandising your site, and what we will call analyze, adapt, and analyze again. So continue to add products to your online store and revisit your categorization and navigation paths as you do. Okay, and analytics will be essential to this task. So you need to have visibility on what your customers are engaging with, and perhaps more importantly, maybe what they are not engaging with. So just like you merchandise your offline store, your physical store, you need to merchandise your online store. So in the example of the screen that I'm showing you here, what we're showing you is the on-page analytics that's built into the AB Commerce platform on one of our demo sites. So those yellow highlighted numbers, they are showing you the number of engagements with various categories, subcategories, engagements with products, and engagements with filters on the page. And as you can see, some of those are 0, some of them have 1, some of them have 43. So it's very digestible presentation of how people are interacting with the site. And that's information that you should be able to see. So for a retailer, if you can see a lot of engagement with a product or a subcategory, you can then act on it. So what would it do, for example, taking this demo, you see duvet covers and sets, there's the subcategory, it's got 43 engagements with it. What would it do to your conversion rate if you were to promote that subcategory with a nice graphical feature on the homepage of the site, or to maybe feature some of the products within that subcategory, feature them as feature products on your homepage? So being able to see what people are engaging with, see what people are not engaging with, reorganizing categorization, navigation around that, and particularly your promotions. The important thing here is, I suppose, that the site merchandising is changing, just like your shop floor does. And the product range is being updated, and being updated with good quality, unique product descriptions as well, because all of that will help your organic ranking. And even if you have a small product range that doesn't change too much, don't worry. Don't sit back either. And, think about your homepage, think about your category landing pages of the site, update these and make them look current, just like you would the store window. Okay, so how do you move from that 500,000 euro in average online revenue to 1 million and beyond that? So back to what we said earlier, that good foundation that we spoke about, that's really going to help you get to this goal. So you now have a strong platform with all of the basics, you're updating it regularly, you have a steady stream of customers and a constant daily steady stream of orders, and quite respectable revenues, all of which coming through the site, and all of which you are servicing with good customer service. So then it's time to think about employing more advanced e-commerce features. And These advanced e-commerce features, these are what we call the icing on the cake. And I don't advise you engage with them too early in your online journey. Instead, at those early days, put the priority, it should be on everything that we have discussed to date, all those things that you need to do to get the foundations right. And only when those foundations are right, then engage with and optimize each of these features that I'm going to talk about now. This isn't a finite list by any means, but it'll just give you an idea. And also, I suppose a lot of these features that I'm going to talk about, they have the ability to increase your online revenue by maybe give you an uplift of maybe another 10 or 15%. So it really only makes sense when you have good, strong revenues coming through the site. So what am I talking about? Okay, so product and service reviews would be one. And again, building on that whole idea of customer service. So consider using a customer or a service and product review platform. Trustpilot would be one of the ones that a lot of our retailers would use, and we've integrated with the AB Commerce platform. There's great feedback from it. Strong review ratings, they give great confidence and they build trust for customers shopping on your site, particularly those who have come to your site via maybe some of the digital marketing campaigns that you've done. So those customers may be from another location in Ireland completely. They don't know about you. They don't know about your business. So by seeing the trust rating, it's giving them confidence to kind of go forward and convert. So it definitely has an impact on your conversion. And then once somebody does order from you, polling customers for their feedback on the service and the product review, it's a great way to build, as you said, that loyalty and make the customer feel like you care about what they think. It's also a great way to uncover black spots or issues in your service delivery, things that were unknown to you. When you poll the customer and they'll say, oh, there was an issue, you know, the box was damaged, you know, fragile. Lots of things can come up that you weren't aware of and that you can address. Trustpilot also very good for SEO. And on your screen there, we're showing you how the various different trust boxes that we call them, how you can integrate Trustpilot in various different areas of your site. You know, don't just integrate it in one location, integrate it across the entire shopping journey. So it might be site-wide, it might be on your homepage, it might be on your footer, your product detail page, might be on your view basket, you know, reinforcing the trust as the customer goes through the journey. Okay, personalization. So consider personalizing the user's browser experience based on their preferences and their order history by using functionality on the platform, or maybe employing specialist personalization engines. There are lots out there. We would have integrated Nosto and Segmentify on the AB Commerce platform. So what do I mean by personalization? Well, on the right-hand side there, you'll see an example of incentivizing the customer to enter their email address by maybe offering them a discount off their first order, incentivizing them to join the club, be the first to know about products or promotions. When they do engage with you then and give you their email address, you know, set up a welcome series email campaign. Some of that can be automated. That will poll the customer for maybe their birth date after a couple of weeks so that you can send them an automated email on their birthday. Just personalizing that whole engagement and that experience and constantly engaging with the customer. In terms of on the shopping journey itself, on the top left and the bottom right there, you'll see some dynamic merchandising on the product list page. So these make suggestions to the customer based on a set of personalization rules. So it might be based on sales data, or it might be based on what the customer has in their basket and what others have purchased with those products as well. So you're making relevant, targeted personalization or suggestions to the customer. It might be some upselling suggestions on the product detail page in the same way, or it might even be targeted personalized emails to the customer post-purchase. So they purchase from you and you engage with them then, you know, maybe a month later with some similar products or products from the same brand or similar to the category that they've already purchased from. So all that personalization goes through the entire journey, right from the moment where the customer comes to your site, through the shopping journey and post-sale as well, and that continual engagement post-sale. And many of all these personalization tactics, engaging them all, again, you could be looking at an uplift, as I said, of about 10 to 20% in terms of an uplift on your sales. Okay, specialized intelligent site search providers. So often in this industry, particularly hardware, you see a lot of large and varied categories of products across multiple different departments. Stakelums, we'll talk to them later on. It's a perfect example. So you've products across so many different areas. Customers may want to search by brand name. Sometimes the spelling of those brands can be a bit tricky. They might search by product name. Sometimes there might be lots of different ways to describe the product. It might be kind of quite technical, or it's specific product codes as well. And often you will see a greater number of customers engaging with search on these larger kind of multi-department sites. So employing a specialist intelligent site search engine to better convert the percentage of customers who do use site search, that can have a really significant impact on your conversion rate, because you ensure that those customers get to the product they want very quickly. So what we're showing you on the screen here is 2 intelligent site search providers that we've integrated onto the AB Commerce platform, Celebrus and Fact Finder. And you will see here how there's autofill suggestions. So as you start to type, it's making suggestions to you. And you're seeing suggestions on popular products. You're seeing suggestions on categories or brands, just to get to the customer to what they want as quickly as possible. Okay, so online chat. So we spoke earlier again about the customer service. You'll see it repeats so many times through all of this and through the various different levels of the online journey. Another way to bridge that gap for the online customer who can't be in store to maybe touch and feel the product is to allow them the ability to ask questions online. Remember, they may be on the product detail page. They might be considering hitting the add to basket button, but maybe they're unsure. If that customer was in store, you would definitely convert them because you would have had a member of the sales team on the shop floor and they chat to them and you'd convert them and you might even upsell them. Okay, so that immediate engagement with your customers via an online chat, it's a great way to kind of bridge that gap and offer that same service online. And don't worry, it doesn't mean that someone needs to be sitting at a desktop waiting for someone to ask a question either. The Pubble online chat function that's demoed here, that's an integration again onto our platform. It has a mobile app that you can have a number of responders who will be alerted when a question comes in. So that way you could ensure you have a number of the sales team who have that app on their phone. If a message comes in, they see that and somebody can respond. So you're never missing an opportunity to convert a sale. And so when all those orders come in, you need to streamline your order management process. So you can have the most beautiful website in the world and the most sophisticated marketing and the most detailed stock planning and marketing plans. But if your fulfillment model, if it's not able to cope with capacity as orders surge, and you're hoping that orders will surge, you will run into serious problems and your customer expectations may not be met, and then you potential loss of custom. So thinking about it, planning it, and streamline your order fulfillment process as your orders grow is really important. And that was really evident during the COVID crisis because so many retailers were shut down, or retailers like yourselves might have only been open for essential purchases. And a lot of retailers saw their online orders surge during the lockdown periods. So they had to respond very quickly. And those that had kind of plans and streamlined their order fulfillment, they were very quickly able to keep up. Others, the system kind of broke down and it creaked a little bit, you know, because they couldn't kind of get products out the door in time and it led to delays. So what do I mean about streamlining the order management? Talking about maybe adding resources for the order fulfillment team. So having a plan that, you know, if you are doing a flash sale or if there is a surge or a peak in orders, that maybe you've resources that will come in between, you know, 6 and 12, 6 a.m. and 12 noon, and then another team that will come in between 12 noon and 6 p.m. and fulfill orders, you know, that you think outside the box. It doesn't have to just be within typical office hours, I suppose, or shop hours. Forecast the number of orders you think that you'll achieve in the next 3 months. Always looking ahead, always looking at planning and looking at your analytics data to clearly see your current order volumes per day. And do apply your growth percentages. So the growth percentages you think you'll achieve over each period, you know, what do we expect to do next quarter, you know, the quarter after that, which, you know, we're coming into peak now, you know, what are those plans? Maybe you've, you know, X% more marketing, X% more promotions, and extrapolate out those figures to get a view on how many orders you hope to do a day. And even roughly doing that exercise is really, really worth it, because you'll spot where the challenges will appear. And look at the current order fulfillment team. Talk to them. How many orders are they getting out currently? Where are the sticking points? What's delaying them? What can you streamline? And again, data. Okay. So if we look at the B2C and why go online, and what benefits can that bring, thinking about, I suppose, from the perspective of the end customer. So online offers you an opportunity to expand your market reach. Investment in the online channel, it's undoubtedly less risky and more cost effective than opening up more physical stores. COVID has been a huge disruptor in traditional retail. Never before have we seen so many customers shopping online. And while some of those customers are now returning in store as restrictions have eased, it's fair to say that there is no such thing as a single channel shopper anymore. So that shopper who would only have ever come in store before, now that shopper is online as well. And if you are not, and if they're not shopping from you, the question is, who are they shopping from? And it's possible that your online competition is snapping them up. So since restrictions have been imposed, the online store, it's definitely come into focus for a lot of retailers and business owners. And where there was a plan maybe to expand with more physical stores, we're hearing from retailers a lot over the last 18 months that they're now considering this spend, and many are taking the path to invest in the online channel instead, because now more than ever, retailers are taking stock of the 24/7, no geographic boundaries, no restrictions, no closure threat of the online store. And then why expand online? So looking at this, I suppose flexibility being the first one. And flexibility, I'm preaching to the choir here, flexibility is key in retail, really, isn't it? The ability to respond to any situation that's thrown at you, you do it every day. With the COVID pandemic being a perfect example, those retailers who were online were able to flip their revenues to online. They were able to continue trading, and many saw a real surge in online revenue during that time when footfall was at an all-time low. Retailers could continue to sell non-essential items online. Click and collect functionality was an attractive option for many customers as it reduced their time in store. And Stakelums will talk to us later maybe about the flexibility that the online provided and the ability to flip that revenue when restrictions came into place. And whether you're in the grips of a pandemic or not, the online store is essentially another store. And if we in Magico look at the most successful retailers that we have on the platform, the ones that are hitting and exceeding their targets year on year, we see that they prioritize the strategy of the online store along that of their physical store. So they optimize, they're optimizing the selling capability across all channels each month. So say if the sales in store are down this month, successful retailers will respond, they'll spot that, and they'll drive more sales online. So they might be doing maybe through a flash promotion or an email campaign or an increased marketing spend. So they'll drive it online instead. So the next one there is increasing your customer base. So the message here really is to, I suppose, to be where your customers are. Use paid digital marketing to target customers who are actively looking for your products, regardless of their location. Remember, the online store is open 24/7. There's no geographic boundaries. So if someone is Googling a brand or a product, you need to return in the search results. So wherever they are, they're in Google and they're looking for your product. You need to be there. That's where your next potential customer is. So that's where you need to be. And as we have discussed already, if you do that, and then engage your customer retention strategies, you'll ensure that you get the most out of that digital marketing spend, and you stand to benefit then from the long-term value of that customer. Increasing your brand awareness, another big bonus. So I have a little bit of a stat for this one. According to ROI Revolution, there's been a significant increase in digital research conducted by customers before their purchase. So put yourself in the customer's shoes. We all do it. We all go online and we Google to educate ourselves on a product range or a brand or something that we're looking to buy. Your challenge as a retailer is to ensure that your brand, your store, your brand, that it's there when that customer Googles, that your brand is top of mind when the customer is ready to make that purchasing decision. And having a transactional site then just increases the chances that you are the company, you are the brand that they'll purchase from there and then. Other multinational retailers, they've entered the hardware market, and we heard from Leslie Carher from Parity last week. She feels strongly, and lots of stats there to suggest that the Irish customer is not primarily driven by the lowest price, and that the customer service and a local team and that solidarity to buy Irish, particularly in the hardware industry as well, it's still a driver in customers' decision making. So your brand needs to be there when that customer Googles. And then maximizing your customer intelligence. So use your online store to analyze and to gain some valuable insights into your customers' needs and their buying habits. So you've got sales data, reporting, forecasting. It's never been so important in these times of reduced supply, and you guys know all about that and the challenges that you're facing. So being able to report on things like, what are your top categories? What are your top categories in terms of sales online? What are your top brands? What are your top products? And what are the products customers are engaging with on your site, but maybe not purchasing? That's a real important one. If you look at that detail, you know, perhaps why aren't they purchasing that? Loads of engagement with it, but they're not purchasing it. Perhaps the product's out of stock. So if you can see that, you can see the amount of engagement with that product. Can you restock the product? And if so, you know, can you generate sales from it? So it's about using the data and the intelligence to drive your buying decisions and learn more about your customers. Retailers would regularly say to us that they see different things selling online to what's selling in store. And the in-store purchases definitely drive some of the buying decisions. So with the current challenges around supply, the opportunity to drive sales of products that are in plentiful supply through another channel, that might be a very welcome relief for some of you. Okay, so let's change tack a little bit here then, and let's look at the value of using the online channel as a way to capture orders from your business to business, your trade customer. So many of you will service the end customer, but you might also have your trade counters. And I'm sure for many of you, that business to business trade account customer, it's an integral part of your business. The customer might even represent the majority of your revenue. And from talking to a lot of businesses, you could even be talking about a 70-30 split here, maybe more. So what would it mean for your business if you were to take a percentage of those business to business trade customers and offer them the ability to log into the online store and see the same catalog of product? Instead of seeing it with an RRP price, maybe this B2B trade customer sees it with an ex-VAT trade price, or perhaps special contractor pricing, and give those customers the flexibility to order when they want. So it could really change that sales environment that you have now. Adding value then to your trade customers. So trade customers can input their orders as and when they need to, as often as required through the online store. Your B2B trade account customers, they're busy, and the ability to order online or even just create a basket and just keep adding to it over a couple of days from the convenience of their pocket, on the go, through their mobile, it could be very valuable for them. I appreciate not all will embrace it. It can be a very traditional area, traditional industries, but for some, it will definitely add significant value, and it'll also make them more sticky. It'll ensure their loyalty. So while we don't want to remove the need for your sales team or your sales rep, the online store should remove that time-consuming order entry task, allowing you to kind of focus on more revenue generating tasks with these B2B trade account customers. So allowing that B2B trade customer, so reducing your order entry errors then, allowing that B2B trade customer to order directly online, it can greatly reduce the order entry errors by the sales team, or maybe even remove the duplication of order entry across the business. And that might be happening for some of you at the moment. So maybe the order is taken over the phone and then entered into a system. So all that takes time, the time in the phone call, and then separately put down the phone and then enter it into a system. So imagine if the trade customer placed the order online and the online store was integrated to your EPOS or your ERP, and what time would that save in terms of time, and then also errors. Increasing the effectiveness of your sales reps. So lots of opportunity here. The online ordering by your business-to-business trade account customer, that could free up valuable time for your sales rep. So we've already spoken about the reduction in order entry and duplication. The goal here is to let your sales rep and your sales team concentrate on what they do best. So introducing new products and developing and maintaining the relationship. So let's take an example. So if a sales rep visits a trade customer, many of you might have sales teams on the road. So instead of them maybe bringing along a bulky, costly catalog that can go out of date quite quickly, they could log in as the trade customer on a tablet in the trade customer's premises, show the customer the catalog online as they're standing on there. So that'll always be up to date. And then create and submit the order with the customer there and then. That'll save time for the rep, maybe ringing in the order after they leave the customer, and it also promotes the online channel to the trade customer when they see it, because they see it working in front of them. They go, oh sure, I'll just place an order myself like that if I can order online, you know. There's also super user account functionality there as well, which means that your in-store sales team, so if you don't have sales reps on the road, but you might have sales team behind a counter taking emails or telephone calls, they could actually log into the online store, log in as a super user account. They could select the customer account when they log in, your B2B customer account when they log in. And they could, if they have the B2B customer on the phone, they can enter the order directly into the online store for that customer. The online store will then be, the online order will then be allocated that customer's order history, and they'll be able to see it after the call. And the sales team can also create order lists and share these to individual accounts. So for example, the sales team could share an order list called October Offers and share that to the B2B trade customer, share it online through their private account area. So when the trade customer logs in, they see that and they can then add specific items from that or the entire list to their basket. So a very efficient way of engaging with the order, suggesting products, upselling, and that's really where your sales rep is. Okay, and the final one there, the valuable trade customer information. So using the data available to add value to your trade customer, but also to your sales team. So integrating maybe things like offline order history from your EPOS, your offline order history, so what they've ordered offline, so that both online and offline orders are at the fingertips of not just your trade customer when they log in, but also the sales team. So if your sales team can see a full selection of everything that the customer has ordered, armed with that information, they can then easily identify maybe the products that your trade customer has not purchased, but they know they're stocking in their store. So that sales team is now working on upselling products and maybe setting up a contractor price on those products and increasing spend. So the nature of online and analytics, it all lends itself to reporting so that all levels of the organization, so your sales reps, your online store admins, the buyers who are buying your products, and the owners, they can see the order levels, the popularity of products, what's selling, what's not selling. So back to what I said earlier, treating the online store like another store and ensure it's part of your overall business strategy, and it can really make for a lot more efficient reporting and clever business decisions right across the organization. Okay, so hopefully after all of that, it's clear that online is here to stay. It definitely represents a set of opportunities and challenges for the Irish hardware market. Your customer has moved online and wants to shop increasingly from Irish businesses going forward. So open the door, open the online door, and open the online door to them would be our advice. But of course that would be because we're in online platform. But here to tell you a little bit more about the real life version of that, I'm delighted to introduce to you a retailer who many of you will be familiar with. So Joe Connolly, General Manager, and Rob Harris, Marketing Manager from Stakelums.ie. Stakelums came to Magico in May 2020 when they were considering an upgrade to their existing online store. They're a great team of really ambitious online retailers who are seeing very impressive results online. And today they're going to share some of that journey with us. So hi, guys.
Hi, Orla.
Hi, Orla.
How are you doing? Hey, Joe, how's it going? Hi, Rob. So we've got a picture for Joe, but Rob, you're there too. Great. Thanks for joining us, guys. So as we did last week, I think, the theory is one thing, but I think it's really important for retailers to hear the warts and all version of what it's like and what it really means for the business to invest in online and to take the online as a real serious element of your business. So can you talk to us maybe about the importance of the online channel for your business and what it has meant for you in terms of maybe some of the changes over the last 12 or 18 months?
Yeah, I suppose I'll take this one first, Rob. For us, we always had a website for the last 8, 9, 10 years. Started out as a static brochure website at first for a few years, and then we switched to a kind of an e-commerce website, but it wasn't integrated to our own EPOS system, which caused difficulties with stock levels and so forth. The catalyst then was COVID in terms of relaunch and replatforming. It was a bit of a, I suppose, I won't say a gamble, but we weren't sure. We had no real proven success with the old website, so we were a little bit apprehensive to the point that we now have 3.5 members of staff, a new van, and planning permission gone in for a shed based on the success of the website. And that's in the last 12 months really that it was replatformed or relaunched. I suppose one of the key things for us was to really address it seriously and get buy-in from the top down, starting with John and Pat Stakelum themselves, but then from the senior management and getting a number of key stakeholders involved weekly. And I suppose from there, it's snowballed. Like what we would have done in online in 2019, we're now doing probably more than that every month. So like we're still scratching at the surface in terms of, it can be sometimes frustrating because we want to get more and more done, but when you're serious about it and you want to get the consistencies right, you want it right first time. So getting the product catalog right is vital. One thing I would say, I suppose, you've got the elements that you spoke about in terms of Celebros, intelligent search, live chat. There's a couple of features that we have embraced and turned on, as you know, but there's more that we want, but we're not going to do that until we're ready to do it and embrace it properly and do it properly. But like, it's just been a massive success. We had one funny incident insofar as we built an office for the e-commerce team in our store and annexed a little bit of the store for a fulfillment area prior to launching. And some of the staff were looking at us like going, what are you at? Like, this is kind of pie in the sky. Now it's a busy hub. So look, I think that the key takeaway I could give is choosing the right platform and the right partner, because you can go to certain companies, they'll build a website, and to an extent that's as much as they'll do. But for us to be part of the community that shares, whether it's the same industry or otherwise, it's vital to be learning from everybody else. So I think the right platform, the right partner is half the battle.
Yeah, great, like some great takeaways there. And even this year, I think even this year is kind of taking me, has shocked you as well, and we're into kind of the second year of COVID, but even some of the online revenue targets that you had set for earlier on this year, you're now exceeding those again, Joe, which is great. So that foundation and building on that, it's continuing to reap rewards, which is brilliant. So I know we were talking earlier, and I made reference to it about buying, and using the online store and how that influences the buying decision, and making sure that the online strategy is part of that then as well. Has it made you buy differently? Have you bought deeper to service maybe online demand, or has it brought any differences to your buying strategies?
It has. Like again, if we look at the seasonality of it, the Christmas in particular, this year we've bought maybe, I think 3 times more than we would have had in previous years. Now, whether we get it all is another thing with the supply constraints, but when you look at spring summer 22, like we've probably ordered 4 times more stock, to the point that we would have always taken containers via suppliers, or but now we're actually importing them ourselves directly.
Right.
So and that's putting the pinch on the logistics side of things, hence the new shed. But definitely when we're buying now, we're buying with an eye to the website, and an eye with a larger catchment area, or a larger market as such.
Yeah, and it's something I mentioned during the presentation, and it's something that I would say, for when we look at our retailers, and the retailers that are successful and the ones that see very that strong growth, they are, what you do there is, you online drives the business decisions internally as well, and that online isn't an afterthought. And I think that's really important. There's lots that you're doing there in terms of the online store, and it'd be great if you could give us a little insight into some of that, things that you're doing around, the graphics, how you manage your categorization, the expansion of your team, and maybe some of the day-to-day or the weekly events that are happening within the organization, the things that you're doing on an ongoing basis to show people maybe how you focus on the online strategy as well.
Yeah, well, I suppose I'll let Robert take this, because we're lucky enough that Robert, as part of his brief, happens to have a very good skill set in graphic design, which means that a lot of the look and feel and shape and tone is coming from Robert's lead. So, Rob.
Yeah, it's hi everyone. It's been a great experience just in the last year and a half, working with Stakelums to kind of get where we are today. And with the platform that we have at the moment, it offers us the ability to refresh the look and feel of it. Like you touched on before, categorization was a huge part of our website with so many departments. So taking time to actually talk with people on the ground, storyboard it out, write it up on a blackboard, really identify all the key areas that we wanted to focus on. A lot of those areas that we hadn't ever focused on before online, in terms of maybe the trade counter or paint, which is really adds to our kind of offering online. And I think Magico, or the platform, really allows us to do that with ease. And you can see the results, like you say, you can see where people are clicking, you can see the categories that maybe aren't performing as well as others, and maybe need a bit more attention in terms of marketing spend behind them.
Great. And I know you're very good at kind of weekly meetings, daily meetings in there, kind of planning, forecasting. You keep a very close eye on that as well, don't you?
Yeah, and even in terms of just getting back to the office, I've been working remotely for over a year, but I've slowly been getting back to the office a couple of days a week. But even with the challenges that were thrown up by COVID, we were still able to manage on a daily kind of meeting over the phone or by Zoom to catch up with each other, plan in advance. I suppose it's really important to have your calendar worked out in terms of the key kind of the peak times that people would be online. Black Friday and Christmas are huge for us, and will continue to be so online into the future.
And I see Trustpilot is going quite well there as well. So watching that in your customer service is important. And you spoke to me yesterday when we were chatting, Robert, about I suppose the pride that you and the team take then in keeping that good rating, and how that keeps everyone on their toes, and you want to really stick with that.
Yeah, exactly. And you want to be, aiming and breaking your targets. And we have been doing that. And the team, which is a very small team, have been absolutely incredible in fulfilling orders, answering customer queries. The communication has been excellent, and Trustpilot just allows us to reflect that.
Yeah, absolutely. And it speaks volumes then, and I think that's a really good point as well, Joe. You have seen great growth, you've seen, great advancement in your online journey, but you're still okay, we need to do things right. You're not racing to activate all these different features. And I think that's really good advice, just to activate the feature, but optimize it and work on it. Make sure that you're optimizing your search. If you're going to invest and go down the road, optimize it, make sure it's working. The same with Trustpilot. Switching it on is one thing, but you need to have a strategy around it, you know. So is somebody who's going to be responsible to respond to any negative comment? Because they will come, and that's very important to respond to those. And, you know, what's your strategy about responding to other positive comments? What's your engagement strategy on it, you know?
The likes of Trustpilot, like we're only 4 or 5 weeks with that launched. We were canvassing for Google reviews, and we've done quite well with Google reviews as well, but not everybody has a Gmail account or a Google account to actually leave a review. Trustpilot affords people the opportunity who've shopped with us to have an automated request for a review. It's been pretty positive. Like I was away last night in Cavan, and I see a review coming in, and a lady is commending in her words, our miracle employees. You know, like that's going to boost you anytime. And then when you feed that back to the team, Rob is right. Look, it gets everybody. It's a small team on the fulfillment side and customer service side, but obviously it's a big team on the shop floor doing the hard work. But everybody kind of gets a buy-in because, you know, they've created that good review or whatever the case is. But I think, look, we have Robert is responsible for all engagement when it comes to Trustpilot. So we're looking for 100% engagement, regardless whether it's a positive review or whether it's a negative review.
Yeah, great. You know, well done. Again, brilliant.
We talk every week, and that's the thing. It's getting the stakeholders around. Like I know you've used the phrase in the past, and it's from the Kevin Costner film. Like, if you build it, they will come. No, they won't. It's one thing building the website, but you need to staff it and resource it like another department and consider it as a revenue stream. And like, look, yes, we get purchases on our website by local people for click and collect or even for delivery. But the majority of what we would be selling would be around the country, probably outside our immediate catchment area. And what we're getting, and I suppose from a revenue point of view, you're talking about optimizing to get over the million or whatever the case is. You have to bear in mind that everything that you're doing online is also going to reciprocate in store. It's the offline part, and attribution to that is a lot harder. The only attribution you can kind of get is when somebody makes it clear to the salesperson that they have already been on our site or they saw it on the website or whatever the case is. And we're getting lead inquiries from people looking for, you know, be it an electric fire or whatever the case is, stove from around the country. So it may not, you know, go through the actual basket on the online side of it, but it's coming to us via remotely by secure payment or by in store people coming to the shop as a destination. You know, that's I won't say it's immeasurable, but it's harder to attribute. But it's a certain part of the benefit of a really good website and a good team behind it.
Yeah, it's very much works in tandem, doesn't it? And so many retailers going online, or so many customers now being online. Talk to me about the importance and maybe the benefit of having the online channel during the last 18 months and the COVID restrictions. So, you know, obviously footfall was down. What did it mean for you being able to maybe sell online? What impacts did that have? So, you know, what benefits did it bring?
Well, I suppose, again, we're multi-departments, so some of our departments would have been deemed as non-essential, and then obviously the essential part of the business was allowed to trade, restricted or otherwise. But the website, I suppose, look, wave one, we didn't have the proper re-platform done, and that was a real eye-opener to see what the old website was capable of doing, just simply because people were forced to it. And once we launched in October with yourselves, like, it just maximized wave two lockdown, where Christmas you weren't meant to have footfall in the shop. We had stock there. We didn't merchandise it properly because people weren't allowed in to look at it, but they were allowed in to buy other essential goods or click and collect. But majority of our Christmas stock last year was shipped because of the website. We would have been carrying stock into this year if not. But we were out the gap by the first week of December. We had very little left.
Which is great, yeah. And back
Absolutely.
to that point about flexibility and being able to just to move revenues online. It was great bonus. Great. And I suppose, Joe, I think Robert and the team, they're doing great things there as well. It's important to have somebody like yourself who has knowledge across the entire business, very involved in the online process as well, or having that kind of helicopter view of it, and not just two isolated teams of online team and bricks and mortar storage. I think that's important as well.
Yeah, it's vital. Again, look, it allows decisions to be made easier. There's, like we've had team leaders or department heads kind of canvassing to get their product or their range up in the site, and we have to discuss, debate, and decide whether or not it's the right thing for us straight away. We'll eventually get there, but it's about what's been looked for. As you say, you refer to the data. Even if you don't have a section or a brand up, you'll know from your intelligent search results whether or not there people are looking for it, and if they are and you don't have it, but then there's an opportunity, and that'll prioritize what we decide to put up next. But to have somebody kind of maybe help make those decisions makes it, I assume, easier for the likes of Rob and the lads to get direction. But it's important to have a strategy around where you want to go and what your goals are. Like we decided, Christmas was the first department along with our electrical offering. And look, call a spade a spade. Our site at the moment is pretty much aimed at the B2C. We haven't really looked at the B2B side of things yet. And again, that's where, we'll give it really good consideration and decide whether it's for us or not. But, there's elements of the trade that can still be put online from a B2C point of view.
Great. And like the sophistication of the customer, have you seen that change now over the past 18 months in terms of what they're looking for, how you're engaging with them? Because I suppose looking from the outside in at what you're doing, I would definitely say that you're quite sophisticated in how you're engaging with the customer and be that from your paid digital marketing activities right through to how you re-engage with the customer. And some of the functionality that you've enabled on the site, like the flexible payment providers, you seem to understand that the customer is now ready to make that big ticket purchase online. So you're enabling them to do that.
Yeah, I suppose it's about removing the barriers to purchase. So the buy now, pay later integration is great. It also leads again to conversions in store. I suppose, again, Robert is very, very hands-on when it comes to retargeting and remarketing, be it that on social or helping with the paid search. And we do use a third-party digital agency to help us with the paid search, because again, it's a skill set that all of us admit we don't have, and if you're doing it right, it needs to be focused on. Again, that's a bit of a learning curve for us. We're not even 12 months in with the digital marketing crowd, but we're seeing results. I think Robert had a stat the other day where 60% of our traffic in a period a month or two ago was acquired by paid. So even though you're doing a lot on email marketing or your digital, or whether it's organic and Google ranks you right, like 60% of the traffic is still a huge amount. And then get your conversion rate, look at your average order value. You can see what you're potentially missing if you're not engaging with that side of it as well. Yeah,
and I know you've invested quite a bit then as well in your email marketing strategy. So you're thinking about all that entire journey. If you're paying that much to acquire, or if you're quite a high percentage of customers coming through that paid marketing campaigns, you want to do all you can then to mine the long-term value of that customer, and that's something that's a priority for you as well with your email marketing strategies. Isn't that right? You've invested in that too.
Yeah, again, Robert will take that now because he's quite proactive on it.
Yeah, so we engaged with a third-party consultant to design kind of custom templates because the kind of out-of-the-box design wasn't really working for us. Whereas now we have a mobile-first kind of design that it'll be dynamic and will shift to kind of different platforms that you're on. We also are integrating with a third-party blogging software, so we're looking to add content that brings value to the customer, not only just on price and range, but also informative as well.
Great. So all great examples of how you're not just thinking about the product catalog, you're thinking of all of the other elements of it, and how it really is that holistic approach and has to be strategic and has to be planned, and the communications of it to do it well. So, which I think is a very fair representation. Don't want to scare anyone off, but work goes into getting this right. Would that be fair, Joe?
Absolutely. Yeah. Look, it can be daunting, but look, I'm a board member of the HAI. Anybody who wants to ever pick up the phone or email me, I give them some snippets. If we can be of help to anyone, we will. But it's a chunk of work. But as I said, if you resource it right and get a proper buy-in, those small wins become quite frequent, and it really does you know, it's nice to be, you know, getting your emails and seeing what transactions went on at 2 o'clock in the morning, because they're coming in at that time. Like, you're kind of going off night shift or whatever. I don't know what it is, but you're starting the day with a picking list for fulfillment. Like,
yeah, which is great. Yeah, when you see the revenues coming in, it's great. Great, Joe and Rob. That's been great. Aoife, I'm not sure if there's any questions.
There are a couple of questions there. Sorry, or it's Ursula here. But I am conscious of time, so I'll give them quickly, and we might just try and get some short answers as well, if you don't mind. But there's been great information there. Now, one of the questions might be a little bit sensitive, Joe. So if you don't want to give this information here, maybe I could provide you with the detail of the person who's asked the question. But they're just wondering what EPOS system you're using. If you wouldn't mind sharing that, but if you don't want to, that's fine too.
I know, that's fine. We've no problem. I think there may be a partner or a premium partner or corporate partner of HAI, but certainly they're advertising in the journal in recent times. It's agility software based in the UK. Again, we've been with them for quite a number of years. So I think you have the contact details there, Aoife, if you want to share them. If not, I can give them.
So two other questions then, just quick ones, were your decision to use the 0.99 price point. Is that a decision for both in-store and online, or do you just use that online?
It's both where we can. Again, because we have different people responsible for different departments, there can be times where 95s slip in or 00s slip in. But I just have this, I attended the Art Friedman thing in Athlone a number of years ago, and Art was making the point that, you know, you're giving away 4 cents when you go 95, when you could be 99 or whatever. So it's just something that we have arguments about here from time to time, but from the point of view of anything that goes up on the website, we try and keep it to 99, but you will find a mix within the store from time to time.
Thanks for that. And just the last question is about how difficult is it to handle returns?
We've been lucky enough. It can depend on the product, and it can depend on the reason for return. Like if it's just a change of mind, at the moment it's on the customer to get it back to us in a decent, in a resellable condition. If it's an issue that, you know, our third-party partner provider dropped the ball and damaged the products, or we've done it ourselves with our own trucks or whatever, we tend to deal with it. But whatever we do, we try and engage in a timely fashion and get it sorted. We don't let it fester.
Great. That's great. That's all the questions there, Orla.
Great. Brilliant. Joe and Rob, thank you so much for that. I think that was great. It's great to always just, as I say, get the learnings from somebody on the ground. So thank you so much for that.
No problem.
And I think so that just brings us to the end of the webinar series. So the 2 webinars, as I said, the previous one was recorded. This will be 2. So Aoife will be able to provide you with those links. And I'd like to thank Joe and Rob for joining us this week. And again, thank you to Leslie from PowerTool for her contribution last week. There's only so much value in what I say, so the real value is in their shared learning and hearing their experience. So thank you to those retailers you've traveled the road. So thank you for sharing that with us. Thank you to Aoife and HAI for having us. And if anyone has any questions or would like to talk to us about going online or bounce any ideas off us, I'd be delighted to pick up that discussion with them, and my details are there on screen.
That's great. Thanks very much for that, Orla. Thanks to Joe and Rob as well from HAI. It was a very interesting presentation, a lot of food for thought, but it'd be a great help to attendees today, just who are looking to get more use out of their website. So thanks again to everyone at both teams for all your help today.
No matter.
Great. Thanks, guys.
Bye.
Have a good day.